Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. People, are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, headline pay-per-views, build your own corporation. It's all included. It's totally free. It's at Wrestler Unstoppable, available now in Facebook. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, you want your name in a shout out like my buddy John down in Texas, then shoot over to patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. Look, you drop $15 a month, you can co-host a live show with me. You drop $7.50 a month, I'll put you into a drawing to do the same thing. Everybody, welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. We'll take your questions, your comments, your concerns, anything you need through the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line 267-642-1160. Make sure you pop those in, or we can get to those in a future episode. Don't forget, check out our homepage at prowrestling.com if you want to see what we're all about. And with that, let's get to the news for the day. Kevin Owens in the news, apparently having a major injury. In his right knee, apparently he has suffered an MCL sprain. And what's frustrating about this is he's been off TV for quite a while now. They were building towards the storyline where he and Sami-Zayn, for some reason, would come together, and it seemed like they were going to challenge the Usos for the Tag Team Championship. They've kind of gone away from that because Sami-Zayn is so over. I would argue Sami-Zayn is probably the most important thing on the entire show these days, and that has put a damper on anything that they've planned to do previously. So until that runs its course and the bloodline thing is over, I think we'll have to wait to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. But at the same time, they would be the perfect ones to dethrone them for the Tag Team Championship, but it's not going to happen as long as he's out with an MCL sprain. In terms of AEW, we have Full Gear coming this weekend. MJF is the hardcore favorite to beat Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship at a -700 in the local odds. Jon Moxley a +400. The other odds for the show, Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter, pretty close, -130 to -110 respectively. The Tag Team Championship, the Acclaim, the odds-on favorites, -2,000 to +700 for Swerve in their glory. The Ring of Honor Championship, Chris Jericho, -240, heavy favorite to win over Danielson, Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara. The TBS Championship, Jade Cargill, -2,000 versus Nyla Rose, +700. I think that one's a dead given. The Steel Cage match, Jungle Boy, -700 versus Luchasaurus is +400. I think that one's kind of a given as well. Saraya and Britt Baker. I'm a little surprised Saraya is the -700. I actually wouldn't be surprised if she lost the match to Britt Baker, just because, yes, she's a star, but you really want to establish that women's division as being tough prior to her arrival. But I do understand either way, no matter how they book the match. And the other odds that are out are on the Darby Allin and Sting match versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, where Darby Allin and Sting are the -500 favor. That is not a shock any of those, I don't think, to me, except maybe this Saraya I thought would be a little bit closer. So we'll have to wait and see. But it sounds to me like MJF is on a collision course with an AEW championship run. Also in the news, Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green both looking like they are on the wish list of Triple H. He's the man driving the show now, and it looks like after all these other returns, the Mia Yim, the Sarah Logans, and all the ones we've talked about for the past couple months, that he really would love to get Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green both into WWE, potentially on a 2-for-1 kind of deal. And if that happens, I'd be curious to see if they'd let him just keep the Matt Cardona moniker, because he's really done a great job of creating that brand and pushing it. But it'd be even better to see the two of them on TV together. Something we'll have to wait and see. So many returns lately. That one would not surprise me. I think he's TV ready, and it can be very helpful. Somebody not coming to TV anytime soon, Randy Orton. A new photo is posted on his wife's Instagram account of him in a doctor's office. Looked like he's totally out of his mind. Must have gone in for some kind of surgery. He was in Birmingham, Alabama, which is pretty much where you go whenever you're getting surgery. So as much as people thought he'd be back in time for the Rumble, that's got to be in question, because he's literally just now getting more surgery. Also not back yet, Thunder Rosa, the AEW Women's Champion. I understand we got an interim, but at some point we might have to think about making that more permanent because she is still not ready. She actually posted this week that she started running for the first time in 3 months. If you're just now getting to the part where you're running, that means the injury was pretty serious, and I question how soon she's going to be able to come back to action. And the last thing for tonight, Nick Aldis burying the hatchet with a top WWE executive is reported on Wrestling Inc. that he used to have heat with Bruce Pritchard due to some time they spent together in contract negotiations in 2011 at TNA. He had decided to negotiate with Dixie Carter instead of going to Bruce Pritchard about a contract he was offered by Pritchard. It caused some bad blood, and Bruce Pritchard didn't think he had the it factor back then. Of course, it's a long time since then, and now he's a much more polished pro, somebody who I think would be TV ready for WWE if possible. And with all the falling out with the NWA recently, I would not be surprised to see him show up in WWE, and it sounds like Bruce Pritchard is not an obstacle. Now, of course, the other interesting thing for WWE potentially is, in regards to Nick Aldis, is he's been very critical of the NWA Hard Times 3 pay-per-view that took place last weekend. If you weren't aware, Tyrus, formerly one of the Funkadelic type people in WWE, when he was Brodus Clay, winning the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. I don't have a problem from a talent perspective, him winning the World Championship. There is some controversy because he has some very right-wing views that he's been very public about. There's been people who question that. Booker T was very dismissive of him being a legitimate person to put your championship on when he's so divisive about politics. But at the end of the day, your political views, just my opinion, should not have anything to do with what they put the championship on, who they put the championship on, how they handle those types of things. You have to separate personal and business. You just do. And if the NWA was WWE, it might be a little bit different because they're so mainstream. But the NWA is looking to put butts in seats. And right now, the best they're doing is drawing, a few hundred, maybe 1,000 people at some of their biggest shows. They're really still trying to grow their brand. And in order to do that, you got to have consistent talent that's going to show up every time you need them to. And right now, Tyrus has been doing that. And he's been doing it for quite a while. I'm not saying I would have put the championship on him. I would have put it on Cardona, unless you don't think he's sticking around because he's going to WWE or something. But in the meantime, I think it's not the most terrible decision I've ever seen. It just could have been a lot better. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode where we'll run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks always goes out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing any music or sound effects we use. Today's show is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beazle Games by going to frowrestling.com and clicking the icon in the middle of the screen to pick up your copy today. And if you're looking for your next career move, considering college, university life, or you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our sister website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs. As Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich. Man, I can't even say my own name. Better known as Dr. Fro. And I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today. Until next time, take care. Have a great night.